Pioneers of Nerva City and our new Earth.
We're here. Fantastic.
It's brilliant, Dad.
As Nerva City strains to provide shelter and food to our population.
This is Flip and the Doctor.
And you'll find we're charming company when you're not pointing guns at us, that is.
Nerva City has reluctantly made transmats one way only.
You really don't know anything, do you?
Just travelling through. I'm afraid this isn't food.
Nonsense. It's perfectly good and natural.
I'm serious. It's Wirrn mucus.
Hi everyone, TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the final part of the Sixth Doctor and Flip trilogy. That's the first Sixth Doctor and Flip trilogy, the one that came out in 2012, and this is Wirrn Isle by William Gallagher. So, let's jump right into the cover here. You've got rather icy effect going around here, set up in Scotland, and got the Sixth Doctor there in the same coat type of thing that he wore during Revelation of the Daleks, I believe. You get a better look at that on the inside. Then you've also got Flip with a little Parker hoodie there, and you have the moon in the background. I've forgotten what the machine's called. I'm just going to call it a plane. It's not a plane. There is a technical name for it that is actually referenced in the story. And then you've got a Wirrn there coming out of the ice, and you've also got a little house right in the background there. So quite a nice cover, actually. Quite a nice look at the landscape around, and also the lake right there. And on the side here, you've got also featuring Tim Bentnick. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and we've also got Jenny Funnell, I believe. Not too easy names to pronounce, but they're probably really simple, and I'm just messing them up really badly, so I'm sorry about that. But there is the spine right there, and here is the back of the set. And now let's take a look at the inside. This one doesn't really click like the other ones do. It just sort of flips open straight away for some reason. Maybe mine's just a bit faulty for some reason, I don't know. But yet there you've got the alternative cover, and here you have the two discs, and this one just simply flies open like that, like the more recent ones. So that's that. Now let's take a look at the booklet itself. Now I'll show you that awesome image on the inside in just a sec. But first we got writers and directors notes right here, with some pictures of the cast. Now we have this image right here. You got the Wirrn in the same design as they were in Wirrn Dawn, the other Big Finish Wirrn release. That same basic model, I believe. And then you've also got the Sixth Doctor there standing on the ice lake, and as I said, in that sort of like coat that he wears in Revelation of the Daleks. I think that's the same get-up that he's wearing there. But yeah, quite a nice cover here with the two Wirrn. And finally, if we turn the page one more time, we get in the next episode, which is the Emerald Tiger, and then you've also got Doctor Who magazine advertisements and credits. So then, now onto the release itself. And if you remember last time, I was talking about the fourth wall, and I was saying how amazing that release was, and it really was a great release. So when I came to this, I thought, it's probably not going to top it. I'm thinking it's going to be an okay story, but I don't think anything can top the fourth wall immediately after. But halfway through listening to this, when I got to the end of episode 2, I was thinking, whoa, this might actually be better than the fourth wall. And I was thinking that would be amazing if the trilogy just continuously improved from a very strong start to an even greater middle part to an epic finale. And I was really thinking that it would be at the halfway point if it just kept that up all the way through parts 3 and 4. As you can imagine, there's a twist coming. Unfortunately, it doesn't for me. I feel that the last two parts really do let this story down. It really is a case of the first two parts are absolutely incredible, especially part 2. Part 2 is great. Part 2 is where the Wirrn are at their scariest, in my opinion. there are some really tense sequences in part 2, and there's one especially involving Flip, which those of you who have listened to this release will probably know what I'm going on about. It's a very intense and well done sequence, and I really want to congratulate William Gallagher, the writer, and who's the director? Is it Nicholas Briggs? Yes, it is. Nicholas Briggs. They both did that very, very well, that scene. That was absolutely gut-wrenching, spine-tingling. It was everything you want a Doctor Who horror sequence to be. That was amazing. And I was looking forward to more of that. Unfortunately, it was a bit ruined by a shock twist, which I did see coming, unfortunately. As soon as they started talking about a certain character, I saw the twist coming a mile off, which is unfortunate because it was much more scary before that twist happened, that I will say. That twist does kind of let this story down a bit, and then from there, it just sort of turns into a technobabble story all about transmats and whatnot. During parts 3 and 4, and it's good that they kind of took that little bit that was off to the side in what's it called? It was off to the side during the arc in space, and then it sort of expanded on the idea of transmats. But at the same time, it's not really that interesting to me. I prefer the Wirrn horror story. I prefer the base under siege, and basically the premise of this story, if you don't know, I forgot to sort of explain that earlier, is that 40 years after the arc in space, where the colonists have kind of beamed down and whatnot, you've got Nerva City as the main complex, and then going off from there, you have these sort of colonies, and this is the northernmost colony up in Scotland, and basically there are Wirrn about, and that's all I can really say without going too much into spoilers. But I was sort of looking for a base under siege story with this family, this very close-knit family on this little island bit in the middle of the lake, and with the hut and whatnot, and I was looking very much forward to a base under siege story with that. And you get that during the first 2 parts, and oddly enough, the Wirrn are scarier before they arrive. Now this is something that has often been said about the Cybermen, actually, Tomb of the Cybermen, the first 2 parts before the Cybermen awaken are scarier than the second 2 parts when they are about. And during this story, I feel that it's the same. Before the Wirrn are fully involved in the story, when they're just kind of off in the shadows and whatnot during the first 2 parts, that is when they're at their most scariest. And when they're just on full out attack during the second 2 parts, it's where they're rather dull villains, and the conclusion to this is rather dull as well, I will say, which is unfortunate. Going into characters, you have 3 main characters of interest, and they are kind of the mother, the father, and the daughter. And if I just turn over to look at their names, I remember the girl was called Toasty, Roger was the father, and Veronica was the mother. And they're a very good little gang of characters there. It's very much a family drama, especially during the first 2 parts, and I was really enjoying that, and I was really enjoying the Doctor and Flip's interaction with them, and the idea that these 5 people are in a desperate situation on this island. And unfortunately after that does once again slip away during the last 2 parts, which is a real shame. And sort of the characters get a bit split up. Toasty is hardly in. Well, she isn't in part 3 at all, I don't think, actually, which is unfortunate, because she is probably the best of the characters in this. She is an amazing supporting character, and you really do feel almost fall in love with her character a bit. She is very good, and sort of her relationship with Flip as well is very strong, and I wish they built that up a bit more, because they get split up far too early in the story, which is unfortunate. And it's just ultimately, what I'll say about Wirrn is it is very, very strong first 2 parts. They are absolutely incredible. And then a real letdown during the second 2 parts, we'll say. They're not horrible, the last 2 parts, but they're something different entirely, and I preferred where it was originally going to where instead of where it ended up going. So that is what I have to say about Wirrn. That's the basic gist of it, and I will give it a 6.5 overall. It is my least favourite of the trilogy, but part 2 is probably my favourite individual episode out of the 12 in this trilogy, that I will say. So, would I recommend it? If you're getting this part of a subscription together with the rest of the trilogy and maybe the 8th Doctor trilogy that came before it, or the 5th Doctor trilogy that came after it, or a mix of the two, or if you're going for 12 months then even more, I would say it's worth it. On its own, if you're just going to buy this release alone, then I say it's probably not worth the 15 quids. Wait for it to go on offer or something at 5 quid. That's when I got it during their Colin Baker birthday offer. I got it for 5 quid along with the other 2 stories in the trilogy. That is when it's worth the price. At 15 quids, however, it's not. So that's my advice. If you really do love the Wirrn, then maybe you should get this story. If you haven't picked up Wirrn Dawn, then I suggest picking up that one instead of this one. But that's basically all the advice I can give on buying when it comes to this story and this trilogy as a whole. So thank you for watching this review of the final part of the trilogy, everyone, and I will see you all next time, I guess. Bye, everyone.